This is All Your Story podcast. Today we are looking at the performance index of the 31 ministries and of course and other very important MDAs in Cross River State in the Senator Prince Bassey two-led administration. And of course, 1 year after, what is the assessment? I know that a lot of people have come up with so many permutations. Some say that the ministries have not done so well, and others said that, okay, it's not enough time to regulate or to even judge any process. So today I have the privilege of having live here in the studios with us my boss, Commissioner for Information in Cross River State, Comrade Erasmus Ekman. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, so Commissioner, I'm so honored to have you. Now, let's talk Cross River, all right? So I think that it's time for us to talk very straightforward and be very sincere and be very honest. I had some guests on this same podcast who told me that the ministries in Cross River State are not doing enough, that there will be the reason why the governor might fail and all of that. So from your own opinion as Commissioner for Information, how will you assess the 31 ministries? What information do you have that we don't have, that the public does not have, that you can tell us? So over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here, and by the grace of God, the public would listen to this and understand that His Excellency Senator Prince Bassey II administration has performed incredibly very well so far. The beginning of the administration of Senator Prince Bassey II, it was about to consolidate on previous gains of the previous administrations and all that, and at the same time, about 31 commissioners were set, to roll, the ball and all that. So far, so good. I think reasonably they have done well. Let me just start by, they say charity begins at home.
Yeah.
To start with, even from the information, sector, we actually made the Ministry of Information that looked like it never existed in decade, because at least for my last count, the last commissioner that was there for like a year was Comrade Aswokan, who left during this political total. And after that, Eric Anderson came for some few months, and I couldn't have done much, though he tried during his time. And then it was just like a no man's land, a ghost town, I had to, start bringing back the ministry to its status. Common PHG light, we didn't have NEPA light, that was restored. And then we tried to bring back the websites, trying to sustain the daily bulletin that goes on both e and hard copy. And at the same time, His Excellency has been very, 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 very good to the ministry. We had gotten a lot of work done. A lot of approvals have been given by His Excellency. We're able to, first of all, look at the CRBC. We looked at the reach. CRBC reach was nowhere to talk about, both in radio and television, which we are still working on it at the moment. We secured some approvals where CRBC had a facelift, and most of the transmitters were actually procured, and then a lot of facelift happened in the CRBC. And then after that, we moved into the Chronicle, where you and I know it was totally done and not during the NSAS. As I speak at the moment, the Chronicle is going to wear, in the next few months, it's been awarded out, it's going to be a new facelift by the grace of God. Renovations work will start. Okay. Then you go back to the printing press. For decades, Cross River State had that a standard government printing press. The government have put in so much to procure more than 14 state-of-the-art digital equipment for printing, where at the end of the day, we'll still go back to employ some apprentices that would mount those equipment. As I speak at the moment, the equipment are on ground in a warehouse, waiting for when the renovation works has been done and cleared. Okay. Other than that, CRISA has been doing so well, one of my parastatals, and you see even in our IGR, CRISA has contributed so much. So I wouldn't want to bore us much with just my ministry, but I felt charity, begins at home, where we have even tried our best to capture the media space. People, there's the Freedom of Information Act was out. People are free to air their mind and speak. But if you look at the critics for Cross River State, except you just feel like talking. There's no point. It's been stepped down because we try to relate with those critics. I invite media bloggers, media houses. I oblige myself for all interviews, 24 hours, my doors are open to actually tell you what the state is doing, so that most times I understand when these bloggers or these journalists start writing is because you don't answer to their call, so they decide to write what they think. But for now, they hear from me, and that what we're trying to do generally was just to buy the people's trust, the confidence to actually make the people actually see is believing, as in truth to words, for what is happening, for people to understand what His Excellency Senator Prince Bassey is doing, factual issues. Quarterly, we bring in the international, national TV stations to go around projects that are cited both in the South, Central, and North, and then actually do a documentary on that. And that has been going on, and I bring that. We do ministerial briefing too, though some little bit of challenge on that, but so far we're able to be abreast by what all other MDAs are doing. So I want to say so far at least it's good. Well, for the governor, for the government of the day, we started by trying to recover Cross River State. I wouldn't say Cross River State was lost. No, it wasn't lost, but every administration comes with its own blessings and glories. So yet we start with the state. As you drive around the Calabar metropolis today, I don't think you find any pothole anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, these are just ideas and memos brought up by the Commissioner for Works, where we have been able to turn Cross River State. I was very impressed with some of my colleagues that had come during the Xmas, and like, wow, Calabar is very, very neat, and it's actually returning back to its glory. The escapes were painted. You wouldn't find anything. There's even that fear to actually drive and drop a piece of paper on the road. We had actually fixed all that. Library complex, or those days, library was a place for fun where you actually, go read, do your research, and have some leisure time, sit out, meet some new friends. But it was dead and gone. As I speak to you at the moment, any time now, the library will totally be commissioned, and it will come back to life. And then at the same time, the government houses, a lot of leakages, a lot of broken things. Furnitures there were from since 1999 and all that. Every aspect of the government house has totally been renovated, have been revamped. It's a new phase. You can actually, when you take a drive down there, you'll see the stadium too was totally down and out. It's been painted. We have been able to get a lot of our children get involved in sports, where in the last sports competitions in Delta, we're able to win laurels and all that. And even of late, we're able to introduce the NAFA, the National American Football Association, which want to give it a try since it's sport development. We're developing sport. Our youths are very excited, and a lot of other things. We see the traffic lights are back. They were damaged during the NSAS. The lighting in town. Maybe I just take in a bit, because if I just speak generally, it looks like one is not specific. So when we come for works and infrastructures, we have a lot of roads that have been repaired, that have been rebuilt. The Esbutang Road, the one by Zone 6, that has been totally built, commissioned with street lights. And then we have the FETA, where we divided it into 3 phases. The first phase was actually commissioned last year, and as I speak, work is right now going on, because for most times there was a bit slow of work there because of the raining seasons. So somehow we do well, we do better during the dry seasons. So I think the roads there have, the constructors are back to site. They're actually working. We have the last some internal roads in the Calabar South axis, Ephraim Road, a lot of small, all those adjoining roads are very, very important. If you notice the Ward Market, just after the Ward Market and the filling station, there's a side road that cuts off to Bedwell. That road was totally gone, totally out. And then it was actually kept for, hoodlums, people actually drop refuse and all that. If you go there totally tight, that cuts off traffic. When you're going to the roundabout, instead of going straight, you can actually go through there to Bedwell and all that. There are a lot of internal roads in the Calabar South that has been fixed. You go back to infirmary, this hospital, infirmary road of Calabar municipality down, the road has been, and then for even in the central, the internal roads in Yakor, Ogeb local government ongoing, Ecom, you have the Tome Road. As I speak with you now, going on, we are doing intervention work at the Boki Ecom axis, Boki Obudu axis as I speak, and then you go to the north, of course, Okele. We are there. Our presence are felt in Okele, in the Alifokpa Bridge and the road, and at the same time in Duke Junction, taking to Monaya. We're working seriously there. A lot of other things the governor is doing that cuts across and spread across all the states. We have the traffic light bat restored. It was actually funny for some people that had not been used to this traffic light in Calabar to actually know that they actually stop you, and then when they give you a green light, you move. And then bus stops have been placed in strategic, points and all that. All what we're trying to do is trying to bring back Cross River State to its glory. You come back to health, you see that a lot of health centers, our workaholic commissioner for health has done so well. You see that most of our health centers have been upgraded to general hospital like that of Ecom, and then we sometime last year we procure oxygen machines for, we had these issues of people dying because we're actually going to rush them to 1 or 2 clinics outside the state for oxygen issues. So we're able to get 1 or 2 for the general hospitals, which it's been underused now. And then for health, many other, of late the World Bank actually, because right now there's so much our how they call it, our belief index has so improved. Outside Lagos State, Cross River State is seen as a growing state that it's actually going to thrive and do well in business, agriculture, and all that.
All right, so let me take you on that internally generated revenue, because I heard that there's an increment.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think Governor Tu did differently that is achieving the result he's achieving right now?
Trust.
Okay.
Belief.
Okay.
We have this issue those days. We talk about a lot of business people not paying taxes and all that.
Okay.
You understand? That's because where's my tax? Where's my money going to? Why am I paying tax? Nothing is fixed. Everything looks dead and out, and I'm paying tax. But for now, everybody seems to understand where these monies are going to. It's not rocket science. You drive through the streets of the Calabar metropolis to even seeing ongoing work in the north. You see that this man is working. So all you need to do is just pay that little tax. So that's a lot of confidence have been brought back to the people, where they can actually, my IRS chairman, my friend, tells me now people actually come on their own to pay tax without him going to harass them. So I think there's some level of confidence that is, because people are just like a train, they watch. Once they see that truly this man is actually using this for this, people will come out on their own to pay their taxes. And that's one of the reasons why our IGR has improved. And beside that, the trust ratio, confidence ratio from even external, from donors. The World Bank of late just donated some buses, laptops, and whatever to Ministry of Health. It's building confidence. You see, when we came on board, His Excellency had brought in the Economic Summit, trying to open Cross River State to the world, for the world to see what they can actually tap into Cross River State. We know, we have very wonderful, lovely, arable soil, and that's where we don't joke with the agric side, where we have a very robust, program and policies for the agricultural. And for us, we are just in the formative stage. So we don't expect much productivity now. Anybody that tell you it's rocket science to just start this and you get a result now in agriculture, then you're not being fair and truthful to us. Okay. In Obanliku, to start with, we have about 50 hectares planted of wheat. Wheat planted, grown, fenced, to avoid, cows, rodents, or, to eat. They are germinating, they are coming up. We are in Nigeria, where we're looked at about the 16th state, that does well with wheat. And if you look at it generally, what we use wheat for. We're still going to wait for the rainy seasons to see how well we will test close to 2,000 hectares of land across Iyala, Ogoja, and all that for wheat, and see if it works. But that of Obanliku is working and is doing well. So we are not even just looking at self-sufficiency. We're looking at trying to export, trying to make our rural communities, very, very highly developed, and at the same time, encourage some of us to go back home to do farming, where you will now see this development coming into your communities, because to start with, we have approved for access roads, access farm roads. So it means that roads will be there. development will be there, infrastructures will be seen, and then you can actually export out. You can actually be counting the dollars back in your own community. Right. So at the end of the day, what we have, yearning for appointments and all that would just be a thing of the past. It will now have to do with technocrats mounting where they're supposed to mount.
Okay, so now, Honorable Commissioner, let's leave the landscape of Cross River and talk about according to the standpoint of some people out there, some public affairs analysts, like one of them came to my studio recently and said he cannot rate any commissioner in Cross River State above 50%. And then, of course, there are other people who are saying that some ministries are doing incredibly well and some are not doing anything at all. So let's look at being able to draw down certain things from the national. I know Cross River State is supposed to be providing counterpart funding, right? And then at least is it the ability of these commissioners to be able to go negotiate and do the internal workings and all of that before we can talk about counterpart funding and drawing down this thing for the people of Cross River State to benefit. How will you personally rate the 31 ministries? Be very truthful as a commissioner for information. I don't want a blanket statement of saying they are all doing well.
No.
So how many of them do you think they are doing well?
No.
How many of them do you think need improvement?
Let me tell you, let me say something here.
Yeah.
His Excellency actually took time before appointing these commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it may not relate with the academic qualifications, but at least on PhD, not acquired doctor from anywhere, are about 10 as commissioners. Okay. So as bad as it gets, maybe for those that you think or the public think are not well, okay there, it means that to have gone through the 4 walls of the university for about 12 years, you can always blend in. And I tell you, all the commissioners are doing well. Why? Memos are written, ideas are generated. You see what the works is doing. And you will not tell me that works have not made 50%. Is it the Agriculture Commissioner that has gone ahead to bring a lot of you have the African Development Bank, negotiated with them, brought these wheat ideas, brought the cocoa and coffee. You know, as it is now, our soil can actually, cocoa would thrive everywhere. We had be coming on board. These ideas of even coming in to say, Your Excellency, let's do a land survey of the Cross River State to see which crops tribes may have emanated from these commissioners. So you cannot tell me they've not done 30%. If they're not okay by your standard, they are doing no quick standard. We belong to one state, Cross River State. We have one principal and one boss, Senator Prince Bassey, who has rated. Are you aware that most of these commissioners, not even just for what they think they do here, had even received national awards? Sure. I have received a national award. So is my woman, because when you talk of the gender equality, we always talk about the female gender, but some men are beaten in their homes. Some men are going through a lot of tortures, psychological tortures. So we talk of the boy child. When you talk about the gender thing, and we are protecting our daughters, like I have beautiful daughters. Who is going to marry these my beautiful daughters? So we have to tutor that boy child too.
So how are the female commissioners doing?
No, that's what they are doing well. They are doing great. That's what I'll tell you. They are doing great. I'm just giving an instance of the woman commissioner for women affairs, okay. And that, on that premise she got the award because we in Cross River were the first to introduce the boy child and celebrated it. Okay. So there are very little indices. You look at these things. Not just the finance commissioner has been very perfect. You see the Afrimex deal. A lot of deals that have been going on that has to bring finance and things to Cross River State has been piloted and driven by him. So you cannot tell me he's not doing well. He's not up to 50%. And for crying out loud, how is the state this beautiful? Why do we think we're doing well? Aviation, as I speak, first March, we are bringing our CRJ 1000 series, the latest, at least 2. We try to procure 5, but call a spade a spade. So we're doing 2. Okay. No, let me go there. How about education? Where we have now even digitalized results in WAEC, paying fees for indigents and all that. And with that, pushing to getting His Excellency establishing the University of Education and Entrepreneurship in Akangba, and at the same time forestry and agriculture in Obubra College. Why would you classify somebody like a commissioner for education who has once been a senator and has been in the stream of government, and you say he has not done 50%? Is it health that just brought international donor to us? So where else? Is it water resources? We hadn't seen water for a long time. And then eventually we have water blown. So we notice that some pipes have been rusted. And he's he's treated. Water has been anywhere. He has negotiated with some banks that would handle some, PPP arrangement for us. Is it power where we are lighted up to Odupani Junction right now as I speak, and transformers has been brought to areas in Calabasa that never saw light in life, to Afrique or Bekwara? So I don't understand where my very good friend, my senior brother, Dr. Eja, was coming from. I'm aware he had somehow, took a consult. He did something with the sports council, or maybe he was doing. So the day I met him on Saturday, I pleaded that he should rather be our president or something, because, in life, honestly, even if you have a mate today, you can't just keep changing people. You have drivers. Okay. You have security men. Commissioners are first 11 of His Excellency. Commissioners, if you listen to us, where it's a secret, we sit as father and children. We are bonded. You can't just, I don't say the governor has a right to do that, but he's a father and he knows everybody's weak point. And let me make you understand too, that most of the things we want to see, like he was questioning why would somebody come out to do trade fair when people are hungry. We just have to start something. The median edition of it may not be perfect. We just have to start something. You are not Prince Otu to question why that approval was given. So there are some approvals you go for. His Excellency will look at them. If he knows they are not people-oriented, since the people's first matter, he steps them down. You don't blame that commissioner. You understand? There are some you go for, like I have been very, very lucky, I'll say it clearly and openly, that I get almost all my approvals. Because His Excellency is very passionate about the information sector. Very, very. Right. Very, very.
Okay, so that's interesting. So if you're just joining us, this is On Your Story podcast, and I have here live the Commissioner for Information in Cross River State, and we've been talking about the performance index of the People's First Government, the government of Senator Prince Bassey II in Cross River State, Nigeria. So we want to hear more from the Commissioner for Information. So Commissioner, I want you to talk clearly about how do we differentiate certain things we are staying in this state that are purely the effort of governor, and how do we not demarcate those who are the effort of the commissioner? Because like all of these we've been stating, people presume that it is the effort of the governor. Like you talked about the commissioner for finance that he's doing very well, and you talked about the Exim Bank deal. But people are of your opinion that was the effort of the governor.
People have the freedom, the right to speak and talk. But I want to make you understand that if the governor coming down, he had his own blueprint, has the people's first mantra. His mindset is very transparent, very open, God-fearing, leader. So it was as if just turning Cross River State, to the best you can ever think of, as in one of the best states in Nigeria. He cannot do that alone, outside the advice or memo raised from his commissioners that would complement that. If His Excellency, for instance, wants CRJ 1000 series planes and you go and ride for Boeing, whatever, he will step that down. It's a family, there's a synergy. The idea of building, renovating Chronicle, buying those equipment came from me. I raised memos. And His Excellency, oh yes, that's true. That sector and really poised. I want to see what is happening with that sector. We have to get it right. And he approved. Yeah. But there are some you bring and he looks at it, maybe for financial constraint or reasons why we cannot do that, won't do it. So the governor cannot do. Who implements this thing? Who supervises? Who goes monitor? Is the commissioner. So the commissioner, most of these things that are done today, infrastructures, yes, as a governor, you came in, everywhere was down and out. Potholes everywhere, dustbin everywhere. So you charge the commissioners. He talked about Kuda that day, I laughed. Kuda is directly under Ministry of Environment. Yes, it is. I've not seen the Kuda ES coming to ESCO to defend any memo. It's the Environment Commissioner that defends. Okay. So that means environment was doing well.
The credit would have gone to the Ministry of
Environment. No, Kuda is doing well. Both of the Kuda is doing very, very well. I appreciate it. But I want to make you understand that as a Cross River State family, we're all together. Okay. So you cannot just praise Chronicle or Cross River Bassey without eating information out. Okay. Do you understand my point?
The Commissioner for Information is not doing well, but CRBC is doing well.
How are they doing well? And apart from that, mind you, even in the Kuda, itself. He was just looking at Cross River State, Calabar, very micro. I don't know if you understand. We're talking of Ministry of Environment, where Kuda is there. So everything we work as it's with the family. His Excellency may actually put it up to us. He has his connection abroad and make us understand that, okay, this memo you're bringing up or this idea you're bringing up, I'm going to call my friends in AfriMex or whatever to come in. But it's not as if the commissioners are just there folding their hands. And mind you, they are just about a year, 3 months or thereabout or 4 months. So if you keep changing, maybe in his standard, he's a member of the Charlton House. If I want to particularize, take it back to him and all that. He's very, he like I told him that day, these things are not rocket science. When you talk of even that corruption he was talking about, it starts from us, me and you. Let's change the narrative. If 50 million persons, no, 50 million is too much. If 10 million Nigerians can actually step down corruption, especially those that have the influence and authority of power, Nigeria will change. Asiwaju will just do his best with his policy and programs. Who drive them to the grassroots? It's us. It's you. So we need that change ourselves. So I was telling him most of what he said were right by just saying it, because most times we just sit down and say things. How do you implement these things? How do we drive these things to the grassroots? It may take months, like in our agricultural pursuits now. We are just in the formation state. We're just trying to transform the state. Transformation state. Where you plant this with, when they grow, when they will. So you're talking about before the next 3 years, 2 years. This will all matter.
So it takes a process.
It takes a process.
Sure.
So it's not rocket science. So if you start removing Commissioner for Agri now, with this is pet projects that have come up, you bring another one and now say no, we don't want. We want. So is the state going forward?
If you stay in 2025 and say it's not doing well,
it's not doing well.
What if he escalates in 2026?
It goes better, or you bring another one, and that one even does worse. Because let me even tell you something. I tell you the truth. I'll be wearing these shoes. And honestly, I don't blame. I want to congratulate and praise any other commissioner that had been commissioner before I was commissioner. Because it was very easy. Why is this man not doing this? Why is this? Why is that? You're here today. And even as best as you try to do things, you're still being criticized. So we're open for critics.
Yeah, the criticism is okay.
It's very okay.
It's people's government.
Yes, it's people's government, so that we'll sit up and we actually but the people sitting down there drinking their coffee or Star Radler or whatever to criticize should know that when you're put on your toes, sometimes my average time sleeping is 2 a.m. Because I go through every chat, every talk, every critics, everything. I try to balance and see where I've gone wrong now, because I'm ready to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to learn, and I've learned so well.
All right.
I don't take offense, but my point is, everything must not just be how you, Beatrice, wanted, how you'd have loved it to be. His Excellency is so smart. This is somebody who has been a banker, who has been the legislator. He's in the executive now. He has been a businessman. So I don't think you know more than him.
Sure.
For he can actually write something about each and every one of his commissioners.
And he does intelligence gathering.
No, he's so smart that he knows everything about us.
All right, so that's interesting. Commissioner for Information is live here with us, and the program remains Own Your Story podcast. On this podcast series, we talk Cross River, we talk national, we talk about every topical issue in Nigeria and in Cross River State, and everything going on in the Senator Prince Bassey led administration. And I want to come back to you, Commissioner. We want to hold people accountable. We want everywhere to work, because it's people's government. In people's government, people have to ventilate. So in your own opinion, how can we sensitize the people better? And besides that, how can people lend a voice to these 31 ministries? What is the best way to do it that it will not look like criticism?
Okay, see how it is. We have information officers in all the MDs.
Okay.
You understand? That alone is actually, putting that voice out.
Okay.
For, we get information from these MDAs.
Okay.
On daily basis.
So the feedback mechanism, how effective has it been?
No, very, very effective. We have a website.
Okay.
We have a website. We have a daily bulletin. We talk. Most times there's some things we don't understand. I put a call direct to the commissioner. Okay. To put it out straight.
So is there any report that these information officers present to your office?
Yes, they present reports both in soft copy and hard copy.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
On a weekly or monthly basis?
No, not weekly, not monthly. Weekly basis, but daily basis. Once there's an emergency breaking, we get it immediately.
Okay.
And it goes directly to our website.
All right.
You understand? So apart from that, we had sent orientation department to actually go into communities, rural areas to sensitize people, especially during these local government elections. Our staffs were everywhere, saying in the nooks and crannies, trying to actually make people understand still violence, this is how to vote, it's not a do or die, whatever. Just sensitize people to understand that it's one government and we mean well for and all that. So we've been trying our best to, like, this is even just part of it too. Because at the end of the day, once this goes out, a lot of people even understand or see one or two things that they never understood. You understand? We are just trying our best to the limit we can.
Okay.
And by the grace of God, I see very positive improvement.
Right.
For us in Cross River State, a lot of people wonder why we don't talk much. We see the work, not talk. We use our eyes more than our lips. Because if you step out of your station here, you will actually see what the state is doing. What infrastructure is being, the new one that's been put in, the one we're about renovating, the one we're working on. You will see with your eyes.
Okay.
So once in a while, I just come up to actually ice the cake. Because I don't need to always talk when I need to lie. Because when you sit in a gathering and you see somebody who talks too much and does as if he knows too much, a lot of lies are there.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of lies are
That's
there.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so furthermore, I want to also find out, how can people access you beyond your information officers? How accessible is your ministry?
Yeah, definitely. My phone calls are always out there. I mean,
Your numbers are out?
I receive calls 3 a.m. Okay. I mean, you can, for the Hit FM, Sparkling, all the radio stations, most times I go on radio talking show, I drop my phone number. It's just that we know the economy is not too good. So sometimes the phone numbers turn to, please, we don't have food, I cannot pay my children's school fees. Not telling me that the dustbin has not been picked.
People's government.
And I understand. So where I can assist, I always assist, but I always drop I'm very open.
Okay.
I live very, I'm seen almost everywhere in Calabar most evenings. Okay. I'm always everywhere. And I'm always ready to answer to the people. I have met tellers that eventually are now my personal tellers from talking shows. Okay. I've met friends that I never knew before that have been taking care of their bills from talking shows. Okay. I've tried to, in short, there are times they see a cops here. I get information, even security robbery here, that I call the CP immediately, who's my very good friend. He responds swiftly. Okay. And for crying out loud, I forgot to talk about security, where I will give the Honorable, the Commissioner for Police, the CP, kudos. He has done very well. Cross River State is a safe place. It's very, very safe. I mean, it's just like I say, we don't do much of our talking. We see with our eyes. I know states I have visited, and in less than 2 days, I hear gunshots and crisis issues and all that, who have been saved out from not only personal influence crimes, even those crimes that could come by way of accident. I call my colleague in Niger State to actually sympathize with her over the explosion of the tanker. We've been blessed in Cross River State because ours here is well arranged, and we know your line where to move, so that we don't clash these trucks for them to explode. We are very well arranged and organized in Cross River State. The security have done very well.
All right.
Yeah. That's
interesting. So, Honorable Commissioner, let's talk about social media. We see that every single governor who comes on board the state, who takes over the affairs of the state, gets criticized, gets dragged. No matter how well you are doing, you'll be insulted.
But this one,
it's become a lifestyle.
Yes.
Even this one, they are beginning to drag him because it's done 1 year, and you are beginning to see that the sweetness is reducing. A lot of people have, not because he's doing badly, just because everybody who is in charge of the affairs of the state must be insulted. So how are you doing as Commissioner for Information to engage with these bloggers on the streets?
Okay.
How do we educate them? How do we inform them? How do we actually make sure that we streamline and sanitize our social media space in Cross River?
Thank you very much. That has been a very big problem for us, and it has to be taken to the National Council. Okay. We have talked about the bloggers. We have talked about everybody's a journalist because we have Facebook. And,
with that certification?
Yes. Breaking news. Raja was saying drinking beer and Mariam, you understand? A lot of...
Well, once you have a phone, you're a blogger.
People, I many a times I have heard some very strong critics from the state government why I try to clear these persons and they come to visit me in my office when I invite them. I see them. Some are very, some are almost underage. Like I used to wonder, are
Sure,
you the
minors.
one writing? Minors. Are you the
Yeah.
one writing all these things? So we are trying. I try my best to be very close to the bloggers. I try to ask them. I've had several meetings with them. I try to reach out to them.
How about the training?
Yeah, the training we're coming to there because, you know when you get into a ministry where you need to fix 80% of issues,
Okay.
you take them one by one.
Okay.
Training is one of it's in the line.
Okay.
But we needed to get an office, a conducive office to work. We needed to fix some of our gadgets, to get further reach. We needed to renovate some of our buildings to make the place a bit,
Habitable, yeah.
habitable.
Yeah.
We'll get there gradually. We'll get into training. And mind you, we will work with our budget heads, and at the same time, we work with what at the mood the government of the day is His Excellency. If we can get approvals, I want to assure you that honestly we're working to that. But for me, I try my best to reach out some little bit of welfare, some little bit of trying to appeal to them to streamline their cluster, to know who is actually a blogger and who is not. Sometimes they come to my office and ask, I don't know if they register or whatever, I'll try to find out all that. And then quarterly or thereabout, I think I always have a full house of both artists, bloggers, writers, journalists, everybody. I used to have a very, very robust interaction with them and all that.
All right.
So that's it. But, the critics too, generally when it's very difficult for me. I'm just this very, I would say, somebody who has been very behind the scene. I never really knew that, faith, by the grace of God, His Excellency, which I appreciate so much, would
Has
actually
put you on the
push
front
me
line.
on the front line.
Yeah.
It started when I was State Publicity Secretary of the party. That initially would have been a very difficult job for me, but more thanks to my chairman, then Okadibo, who made it a bit very simple for me. But I was never confrontational, because I look at life beyond abusing openly on social space. I try to be friends with everybody, but I've always gotten results from just using my style of just being very open, nice to you, sit you down,
interacting,
and interact with you, get to understand your point. When I came on board as State Publicity Secretary, I was warned by even some of my uncles, you start attacking parties and all that, but I never had any issue. Instead, I introduced a happy birthday for leaders, and today it's done everywhere, anytime. People in shop, people even call, my birthday is this, so I graduated here and all that. I just wanted peace. And then coming as Commissioner for Information, what were my first, stands? I was like, information. Now it's going to be very difficult. I'm environmental science to PhD. I never read literature or English in my life. But somehow I was encouraged by His Excellency Senator President to make me understand that I can actually appoint and fire and put the right people at the right place. And so far, so good. Like my very good senior brother, Dr. Eja, after we spoke, I think he rated me above 50% because what I did was...
Your rating has been increased.
No, he hugged me and he agreed with what we spoke.
So your rating has increased. No, what that means that your rating has increased.
Yeah, if you call him again, I think he must have given me a pass back. So what I did was I tried to capture the media space, which is very key. I tried to actually send out 70% of positive news and a bit of 30%. It's our state. We must grow it. Anyhow bad it is. I visited most of these our activists, visited them in their hometowns in Lagos, sat with them, drank with them, spoke with them. And this is your state. Whatever it was in the past, try to send to me what you want to send out, you want to verify. And I'll give you results before 24 hours. And I speak even to Agba Jalingo. We speak. We are friends. I follow up everything he does, and he sends me everything he does, to not as if he doesn't have the right to criticize, because he himself told me, when you start failing, I will criticize you.
Of course.
And I said, yes, I will
so
welcome that.
People accountable,
but for some of these, you're breaking news because people want to read yours. Let me just see it first, and give me just like 5 hours to verify that you can send it out. So if you watch that has a bit gradually stemmed down in this administration. That was very important for us, because for information gathering and information out, whatever is sent out is very, very important. It has scared a lot of investors. It scared a lot of things. So now, even security, it scared a lot of people. But now as I speak with you, we have donors coming back to the state. Actually, foreign donors actually donating in some of our, and then a lot of investors trying to come back, who are somehow gradually getting our quarries back. You know, these are just from information they gather or get outside. How is Cross-River Zayakaba? Oh, it's a new one. Even when I sit in Lagos, anywhere in Abuja, people say, man, Prince 2 is doing well. Even when they have not reached there, you know, information.
Yeah.
You know, so that was my first, just trying to gather and catch that. Once I grabbed that to myself, I knew the rest would be fine for us and we're doing well.
Okay, so that is interesting. Our own role as media managers is to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Even as my boss, I will hold you accountable.
Definitely, yeah.
If you fail, I will tell you, sir, you have failed.
The administration has done so well for me, so I talk less. I talk less.
You know me.
Yeah,
I'm always frontal about issues where you've done well. I'll tell you, Honorable Commissioner, you are doing well. If you are not doing well, we also say that to you.
And we are careful with information we are not sure of.
Sure.
We don't say them. I don't say them. Yes, verification.
Verification,
and then for us, this administration brought transparency.
Sure.
You see that the people actually hear from the ESCO.
Sure.
1-2 hours after
Extract,
every extract, you just see what we sat down to talk for
the ESCO extract
and
is
after
out.
some months, you go to those areas that have been pointed, you see them work is going on.
Okay.
That is transparency.
All right.
That is part of buying confidence, you know, trust back from the people, and we're doing that way.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. It's been a privilege interacting with you.
Thank you very much.
For the people of Cross River State who are watching us and everyone out there, even people outside Cross River, people in Nigeria and every other place, as Commissioner for Information, what would be your message to the people regarding the 1 year plus of the Senator Prince Bassey led administration? What would you say to them in summary?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to say His Excellency Senator Prince Bassey has done very well in almost every sectors to ensure that Cross River State moves to another level. You can actually see it with your eyes, the side of education. We do a lot with, paying our YM fix, digitalizing our results, and then at the same time, bringing out Akampa and Obubra as one college of education, another one university. It's a giant stride so far for 1 year. You have the renovations of Edifix, the Government House Stadium. We have bus stops, traffic lights, a lot of things that were not there. And back to my primary constituency, the printing press have not been there for decades. As I speak with you in some few months, will be down and out. The library, where we actually do research. You come for infrastructure throughout the 3 senatorial districts. The government has been doing well, constructing, renovating, working roads, both from Calabar South to Obanliku. Agriculture has been very robust. We have procured 103 tractors. We're trying to mechanize, commercialize agriculture where you have sufficient to eat and then enough to sell out. Yeah, we are looking at the productivity stage, where at the end of the day, we know with the bringing of wheat in, cocoa, coffee, maize, and all that, Cross River State will just be a state where every other state, plus the Chinese, the Asians, for us, geographically, we are closer to the Gulf of Guinea, closer to the Asia, the China side. So we have a lot to do for investment, a lot of investments coming in. We have the Afremens Bank, we have the African Development Bank, a lot of people buying in to invest with us. And then a lot of other things, most of our assets have been regained back. We have the Tinapa back. In less than a few months, we'll have our Tinapa back to ourselves. By the grace of God, I know what to do with it. We're still looking at the dancer farms. And then when it comes to aviation, by the grace of God, we're procuring 5 new aircrafts. But for now, I will stand here strong to tell you that the first week of June, God's willing, with our governor, Prince 2, we're going to have the CRJ 1000 series. That's a newer model, about 2 of them coming on board, so that the sites of cancellation of flights or all that will make sure one flight sleeps here, one flight takes off here very early. So we'll have earlier flights taking off from, Calabar. So I think so far so good. In almost every sectors, we are trying our best. And I want to appeal to us to be a bit patient. That is why, to some extent, people argue for at least 6 years, one-term governor. Sometimes the first 1 year. Recall that just about January, I would have said is when this administration started, because we're battled in court to the end of December. So it's not easy. So I think so far so good. His Excellency Senator Prince Bassey has been doing very well. He's very doing well. And what did that work for us Cross Riverians was that we got a God-fearing father. We got a man who is human. And it's actually, the people's first mantra, not just by psychophantic talk, but for real, he's really a God-fearing, a father. So the state is going to really change by the grace of God.
That's
as we
interesting.
can see already. Yeah, thank you.
All right. All right, so your last word to the people.
Yeah, I want to appeal that we pray for the first family. We pray for the administration of Senator Prince Bassey. We encourage him,
Okay.
and we'll try to do the best we can do. And then pray for Cross River State too, knowing that we'll have a man who is very passionate in changing the aesthetics and the type in Cross River State,
Right.
so that he will be well in health, he'll be well in whatever, all his travelings. He travels because he wants Cross River State to be better.
Sure.
So we'll pray for his travels. We'll pray for the wisdom. We pray that he'll continue to listen to leaders and continue to take his people as his own, but not, definitely let negative things never come across his way for him to act.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. It's been a privilege interacting with you. This is Own Your Story podcast. On this very podcast series, we try to be very, very straight to the point. We try to speak truth to power, and we try to also let you in on what is going on in Cross River State, in the private sector, in governance, and in every sphere of influence within Cross River State landscape. My own advice also will be that please verify your information. For instance, all commissioners are accessible, and like we had a lot of permutation, conspiracy theories, and then of course I called him up and said, okay, Commissioner, we want to debunk this, and he's here, and he has already told us his own start point from the government point of view. So please, as the media managers in Cross River State, let's also do the best we can to verify information so that we can sanitize the information landscape of Cross River State. My name remains Beatrice Akpala. On Your Story podcast is here to change the narrative, to educate the populace, to let you know the policy trust of government and everything happening on the landscape of Cross River, because it's our responsibility to build a Cross River State of our collective dream. Building Cross River State is our collective responsibility. I remember Beatrice Akpala. See you another time with another thought-provoking edition as I bring on board other topical issues and other critical stakeholders to handle them, to give us the necessary visibility, and of course to verify all the necessary information that you need to have to know the truth and what truly is going on in our landscape. All right, so put your best foot forward as a Cross Riverian. Bye-bye.